Hello once again to my humble channel, where we are going to talk about video game myths and urban legends. I found this chart on the site called Iceberg charts, and a big shout out to the two creators of this chart. The Iceberg features over 150 entries. The themes of the Iceberg are Easter eggs, glitches, cut content, hoax and speculations. This is the biggest project I have ever done on my channel and I hope you will enjoy it. Once again, like in every Iceberg video, the deeper the layers go, we will encounter more obscure facts about the gaming world. If you're interested into myths and legends in the cartoon world or the world of disturbing video games, I have two videos on my channel that cover those two topics. I have timestamps for every layer so you can enjoy this video in parts. You can always run this video in the background while doing something else. For all you who like to sit and watch, like always, get comfy, grab some snack or maybe cup of coffee and let's dive into this video. Herobrine. There is no better way to start this list than with Herobrine. Due to the popularity of Minecraft, there is no wonder that the game community would start a creepypasta like this. Herobrine is a character who looks like a character Steve, but with white eyes, which give a hunting look. The first appearance was in August 2010. Herobrine would mostly stalk you and watch you from far away. There were speculations that Notch, the creator of Minecraft, included Herobrine as a tribute to his dead brother. One user stated he saw Herobrine in the offline part of the game, where Herobrine dig tunnels and build pyramids. After the streamer Copeland photoshopped images of Herobrine in his streams, the popularity of Herobrine skyrocketed. The guys behind Minecraft loved so much this story that they used to put things as Herobrine added in the changing logs of the patches. And I was also a kid who always followed the patch notes to see if Herobrine was in the game or if he was removed from the game. Bigfoot in GTA San Andreas. San Andreas had its share of controversy over the years, but today the topic is the famous Bigfoot that wanders the lands of Los Santos. People usually state that they have seen Bigfoot in the forest at night time. The rumor goes that the Bigfoot inhabited the area around Mount Chiliad and the Shady Cabin. Many footages started to appear online, which were mostly photoshopped. But the final nail in the coffin was when Terry Donovan stated in 2005, there is no Bigfoot in the game, just like in real life. L is real. 2401. L is real is about a statue in the middle of the courtyard of the castle in the famous game called Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64. There was a statue with a blurry writing, which is probably due to the capability of the console at the time. Some claim that the font is stating the internal star, which is kind of self-explanatory. But yet again some people claim it states L is real 2401. So the theory goes like this. It's believed that the game has 2401 gold coin. After you find them, Luigi will be unlocked as a playable character in the game. But after 24 years, in 2020, on the 25th July, the source code of Mario 64 would be leaked online. And after digging in the files of the game, that Luigi was indeed featured in the game, but as a second player. Nintendo wanted to make two-player option in the game. But again, due to the hardware limitations of the N64, the two-player mode was scrapped. But in the end, L is real. Missing-No. Missing-No is a glitch that could be found and caught in the first generations of Pokemon. To encounter Missing-No, you need to perform a certain glitch named the Old Man Glitch. If you caught Missing-No, the sixth item in your backpack would be increased by 128. But not only that, depending on if you're playing Pokemon Red, Blue or Yellow, it causes various glitches throughout the game. Missing-No is such a famous glitch, it's believed the whole glitch hunt was created because of him. View under the truck. If you played Pokemon Red or Blue, you remember seeing a pickup truck near the SS ship in Vermilion City. The only way to reach the track was either by trading a Pokemon from another guy that already possesses Surf, or by intentionally losing the battle on the ship after obtaining the move, sending them back to the town without triggering the departure of the ship. Since Nintendo didn't state why the truck is there in the first place, players started to speculate that Mew was hidden behind it or under it, and they tried desperately to move the truck in some direction to see Mew. This wasn't true, sadly, but Nintendo did hide rare items in the remakes of this first generation as a homage to the rumor. Minus World. Minus World is about a glitch in Super Mario Bros. For the NES. If you perform a complicated glitch in World 1 Level 2, after you complete the glitch, the player would enter a room with 3 tubes to enter. If you go to the left or right, you will land in the Minus World, or like fans like to call it, the -1 world. Choose the tube in the middle, you will grab to the World 5 Level 1. The Minus World is a level like World 7 Level 2. The only problem with the minus level is that you can't exit the level, so you're stuck until you die or restart the game. E.T. Atari Landfill. This is about the Atari video game burial of unsold video game cartridges and consoles in New Mexico. In September of 1983, 20 trucks full of Atari stuff just were dumped there. This was due to the 1983 video game crash. This was because of the oversaturation in the video game industry and because of the bad business practices, especially by Atari. The games were returned by the consumers and later sent back to Atari. In the end, Atari had millions of unsold games. Were rumored to be the unsold copies of the E.T. the Extraterrestrial, one of the biggest video game commercial failures as one of the worst video games ever. After the success of the Riders of the Lost Ark, Atari bought quickly the rights to E.T. for around $20 to $25 million. They had programmers from the Lost Ark to develop the game in only 5 weeks. The reason behind that is that Atari wanted to sell E.T. during the holiday season. They made around 5 million copies, of which only 1.5 million were sold, because the game was terrible. The landfill was covered with concrete. Children would often try to break into the site, dig up the games, because people believed there should be around at least 3.5 million E.T. games. In the 2013 documentary Atari Game Over about Atari, they given access to the site and started to dig up the site, and they found only around 700,000 games, which were only a fraction of them E.T. games. Blowing into cartridges. Well, this was a widespread rumor that many people believed. I used also to blow the cartridges on my fake NES console back in the day, and I would think that the cartridge would suddenly work because of that. Sadly, the reality is by blowing the cartridges, you're doing quite the opposite. Because of the moisture in your breath, you're actually damaging the cartridges. Lavender Town Syndrome. The famous Lavender Town Syndrome is a theory that allegedly the high frequencies of the theme song, The Town, would be heard by teens and kids. Because of that, the rate of suicide and depression raised, and many believe that the creepy music was the cause of that. It even caused mass hysteria in Japan. Also, the ghost-filled graveyard tower didn't help at all. These were only rumors because there weren't any statistics to back this up, but this is a widely spread creepypasta and one of my favorites. If you haven't heard the Lavender theme song, I would recommend you search it on YouTube and give me your opinion, is it creepy or not. Hidden Palace Zone. The Hidden Palace Zone was a level that was removed from the game Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Mega Drive, but the level was included in a remastered version of the game released in 2013. The level was an underground level. Gamers didn't know about this level existence because they saw it on promotion material that was sent to gaming magazines back in the day. Diablo 2 Secret Cow Level. There were many rumors that there was a secret cow level in the original Diablo. The cow level originated as a hoax about a secret level and has been described as one of the most famous and well-known urban legends related to video games. The secret cow level was also known as the Moo farm that can be found in Diablo 2. To reach this level, you need to create a portal which can teleport you to the secret cow level. Combine Writ's Leg and the Tome of the Town portal in a Horadic cube. A red portal will appear in Act 1 starting area, and the Wrath of the Cows will be unleashed upon you if you enter the portal.
Shooting the Duck Hunt dog.
Duck Hunt was a game released on the NES where you used a gun controller to shoot ducks, but each time you fail, a laughing dog would appear. So many people wanted to shoot the dog to stop laughing. In the NES version of the game, you simply can't hurt the dog in any way, but the arcade version of Duck Hunt included some mods that were not included in the NES version and harder difficult modes. In one of the harder difficulty, you could actually shoot the dog after he jumps to try to reach the duck.
Ocarina of Triforce.
The Ocarina of Triforce myth is an urban legend revolving around the 1998 action-adventure game The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. In early development screenshots, the mystical artifact at the heart of Legend of Zelda franchise was shown, implying that it would have some large lore in the game's plot. In the final version of the game, however, the Triforce is noticeably absent. You could obtain the item, but it was unusable. It is only relevant to the story and not the gameplay. The inventory screen also possesses a black image of the Triforce, suggesting this is the place that the Triforce would inhabit once collected. This led to rumors that the Triforce was still in the game and could be obtained through obscure methods. It has been revealed that no overture of sagas and no Triforce item existed in the game's code.
Pokemon button mashing.
There is a common belief that mashing a certain button, mostly the A button, a way to help you to catch a Pokemon, but this is only a speculation because this has no impact on catching Pokemon. Sadly, only a rumor.
Mount Chiliad mystery.
Rockstar has a history of putting Easter eggs in its game, and Grand Theft Auto 5 is no exception. This is about Mount Chiliad mystery. Soon after GTA 5 got released, a strange mural at the top of the game's tallest mountain. The Grand Theft Auto community exploded with theories about the mural's true meaning, speculating about UFOs, jetpacks, and the Illuminati. It was discovered that upon 100% completing the single player, players would see a hidden GTA UFO above Mount Chiliad during a storm at night. This seems to explain the eye-like shape above the mural's mountain, but the rest of the symbols were a mystery. People believe the UFO is just a hologram because of the simple fact after you try to shoot it, it simply doesn't affect it.
Doug Redman.
Doug Redman is a part of the Portal game. Players mostly found about him through Easter eggs and his hidden places. He is a scientist that survived the neurotoxic attack, which killed the rest of his team. He spends his day writing and making graffiti. Over the time he slowly lost his sanity and his schizophrenia completely took over him. Besides his reference in the game, there is also a comic about him that shows us more about his role.
Hell Valley Sky Trees.
Hell Valley Sky Trees are figures that can be found in Super Mario Galaxy 2. They can be seen in the World 5, Shiver Galaxy, and in the Grandmaster Galaxy. These figures are beyond the reach of the player. They never move and don't interact with the player. They appear large, lanky black creatures with creepy holes looking like eyes. Why are they just standing creepily and observing the player is unknown. Because there isn't any interaction with them, rumors started to appear where people think they are tree spirits, called Kodama, from the Japanese folklore, or that the figures are shadow people.
Lumio City Ghost.
This Easter egg is about Pokemon X and Y games released in 2013. In Lumio City is a building. Upon entering the second floor, the music suddenly stops and the lights go briefly out, and suddenly a blue-haired girl appears behind you. Then she appears to glide in the air because she hasn't any walk animation. The girl glides by you and before vanishing says, "No, you're not the one." Rumors spread that if you have a certain trainer ID, the girl will give you a special item or a ghost Pokemon. These were only speculations because the clear reason why the girl is in the game is not known.
Mario Party anti-piracy screens.
Anti-piracy screens would usually pop up if the game realized you have a copy of the game. This can result from glitching to deleting save files, just to mention a few. This entry is about a video made by the YouTuber 𝙑𝙬𝙚𝙚, I hope I pronounced that right. He would start a minigame in the game Mario Party and suddenly the game would glitch out and an anti-piracy screen would show up, where the characters would be behind bars and the text stating, "Piracy is no party."
Petscope.
Petscope is a YouTube horror web series by Tony Domenico, made to resemble a YouTube Let's Play series. The video follows Paul, the protagonist, exploring and documenting a supposedly long-lost PlayStation 1 video game titled Petscope. This series had 24 episodes. The main character, Paul, has found or received this copy of the unreleased game Petscope, supposedly developed by the fictional company Garalina. As Paul finds more content, it is slowly revealed through reference to real-world events and characters that Petscope was designed for a specific person who did something horrible. As I don't want to spoil you the series, you can look it up directly on his YouTube channel because here is a great story to be enjoyed.
Polybius.
Polybius is a legend about an arcade game from 1981. It's believed that this game was a government experiment in Portland, Oregon. The gameplay supposedly produced intense addiction on every player who plays it. These few publicly staged arcade machines were said to have been visited periodically by men in black to data mine the machines and analyze these effects. Stories spread around the game about people who actually play the game. They suffer from nausea, amnesia, and so on. There isn't any report of this arcade game even existing in the first place, but this speculation has inspired a video game with the same name, and some reference in other media also.
Every copy of Mario 64 is personalized.
So there is a belief that every Mario 64 game is personalized. It changes and adapts to the player in different ways to adapt to their desires, playstyle, and skill. This is done through experimental personalization, artificial intelligence, which seems to pull assets from the game and modify to the player's needs. The personalization of player's copy of Super Mario 64 can be noticed easily by playing another person's copy of the game. Many players have noted how strange another person's copy of the game can be. Suddenly people started to report how their game did behave strangely back in the day, only adding fuel to the flame. This was simply due to a Mandela effect, because people probably misremember the game. If there is any AI in the game like this, then it was really good hidden because nobody didn't find it yet.
Reviving Aerith.
Spoiler for the Final Fantasy games. This speculates that after Aerith is killed in the game, she could be revived. As her death was devastating to many Final Fantasy fans, there is no wonder such a rumor would pop out. But the rumor was allegedly spread by one of the employees of Squaresoft. The theory claims that you need to use the underwater material, which is almost a useless item in the game, aside from an optional boss fight. After you max out your materia AP, you would gain access to the underwater level, which leads to the Forgotten City, where you would reach a special place where you could bring her back to life. There is also a method in which you could switch Aerith for Tifa, but both of those theories have proven false. This goes so far that even Squaresoft stated there is no way to revive her, because the game would have a different outcome.
John Doe.
This is about a Roblox creepypasta about a character named John Doe. There are also a few creepypasta associated with his name. Some stated they were followed by John Doe around, and others were claiming that John Doe would destroy things and ban users from the game. The true thing about this creepypasta was that the creators of Roblox created John and Jane Doe to test the game.
Stop and swap.
Many of you know about the game 𝙑𝙤𝙬𝙗𝙚. This is about stop and swap tactic. You need to own both games, 𝙑𝙤𝙬𝙗 and 𝙑𝙑𝙗. Then you needed to collect all eggs in Kazooie, then switch the game off and insert Tooie. Originally the player would have 10 seconds to swap the game cartridges. But due to a revision in Nintendo 64 hardware, the time was reduced to only 1 second and therefore it became impossible. But the places you were supposed to do the stop and swap are still in the game.
Ratman GTA 4.
This is an urban legend about the so-called Ratman, a creature that is part human and part rat. Some claim he is just a homeless guy. Characteristics of the Ratman are that he is very agile and quick. He would attack you and would quickly kill you. But after data miners searched the files of GTA 4, they didn't find anything like this in the game files. So the GTA 4 Ratman was only a myth.
Gigas is a metaphor for abortion.
The theory claims that in the 1994 game on the SNES called Earthbound, the final boss represents an abortion, because people believe you need to go back in time to fight a weaker version of Gigas. Speculation goes that the layer is a womb and so the final boss is a fetus. But in 2003 this was debunked as the creator of the game, Shigesato Aoi, stated that the main character is based on a traumatic experience he had as a kid when he walked into a wrong movie in the theater. The movie was called The Military Police, a 1957 Japanese horror movie where he saw a murder scene thinking it was real as a kid. And this traumatic experience led to the design of the final boss of the Earthbound.
Fun is infinity.
This is a hidden Easter egg in the game Sonic CD. You could with a special button combination unlock a screen where with music and a creepy background which states "Fun is infinity." But the American version has some ominous and creepy music compared to the Japanese release, and nobody knows why.
Tails Doll Curse.
Tails Doll Curse is a creepypasta about the Sonic racing game. The story goes like this. One day, Dad picks up a game for his son. The kid played the games for days with his father. After the kid got stuck on the last level, he calls his dad to help him out. After Dad beats the game, he liked it so much that he even watched the whole credit screen. As it was pretty late, he sends his son to the bed. During the night, the curious father went into boy's room and turned on the TV very quietly to play the game for a while alone. He noticed that he now had the option to play as Tail Doll. He chose him to tag up with some of the gang. The game was fun until he tagged up with Sonic. The screen went black and the game system shut itself down. The dad thought this was odd and went to bed. Around 2 AM he heard some noises and he was thinking it was his son. Then he sees an odd shadow under the door. After he opens it, it was the blood-covered possessed doll that haunted his dreams that very night. As suddenly the doll says, "You're coming with me forever."
Jumping over the flagpole in Super Mario Bros.
This is a thing that many gamers tried on this iconic game, but this can be accomplished. The jump is only possible in few levels: World 1-1, World 3-3, World 7-2 and World 2-1. But after you accomplish the jump over the flagpole, Mario would be stuck or you will trigger a dying animation.
Sonic and Tails in Melee.
This is a hoax that started as an April Fool's Day prank, featured in the Electric Gaming magazine. It stated if the players would be able to defeat 20 enemies within the Crawl Melee mode, they would have a battle against Sonic and Tails, and after defeating them, they would become playable characters in the game. Of course, this was quickly proven to be a hoax, because the players who completed the mission didn't get the boss fight against Sonic and Tails. The creator of Sonic stated later that Sonic should be in the game, sadly due to time constraints they weren't included in the game.
Toad in Melee.
As we already talked about Smash Melee, here is another hoax made by the GeoCity website in November of 2002. which claim that Todd can be unlocked after shooting every name of the developers in the end credits. After completing this somehow difficult task, the player needs to complete once more the adventure mode, and then Toad would appear as a boss. Finally, after defeating him, he would be a playable character. This was quickly debunked because the game doesn't possess any code as Toad being a playable character in the game.
Totaka song.
Kazumi Totaka is a melody song designer who included a 19-note and 8-bar melody, inserting the specific sound in the most of the titles he worked on. To name a few: Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart 8. The song would be featured in the most quiet areas of the game, usually hidden in the background.
Reptile in Mortal Kombat 1.
Reptile 1 is a character in Mortal Kombat 1 and was the first character in a fighting game history to be a hidden opponent. The development of Reptile began very late, developed with the premise of being a cooler version of Scorpion. The character's concept was completed in a single evening. To unlock Reptile was quite tricky. The player must get a double flawless victory in a single mode on the pit stage and finish the match off with a fatality, all without blocking. There must also be a silhouette flying past the moon, which will occur only every 50 matches. Once all the conditions are met, Reptile will announce, "You have found me, now prove yourself."
1987 on Custom Night Screen.
This is an Easter egg in Five Nights at Freddy's, in which the player enters 1 for the difficulty meter of Freddy, 9 for Bonnie, 8 for Chica, 7 for Foxy. When the player starts the game, an image of Golden Freddy will pop up, followed by a jump scare with a low-pitched scream, leading the game to crash. This started only as a creepypasta, but later the developer team behind the game added this as a small Easter egg.
Gyrate Face.
This is about an Easter egg in the game Animal Crossing for the GameCube. If the player takes the in-game train to the town of another player online, resets the GameCube while being in the other player's town, and starts up the game again, the player will lose all of the items they had in the inventory. The player's character would reappear in their town with the face of a gyrate statue with no inventory. This is not a glitch, but it was made on purpose so people don't forget to save. Of course, this spawned some creepypastas, one of them being that the character died on the train.
Ghostface on World War 4 Super Mario 3D Land.
In Super Mario 3D Land, in the World 4, Level 4, an Easter egg could be found. If the player stands near the goal pole in the corner of the level, in the dark you will see a ghost face appearing. The ghost face would flash a few times and then disappear into the background. There is no knowledge about why these Easter eggs exist.
Jolene Cranley Evans Ghost.
Jolene is a ghost that can be found in GTA 5 and GTA Online. The story of Jolie goes like this. She married a guy named John Cranley, known also as Jock. He wanted to pursue his dream of becoming a stuntman by leaving Black County. However, Jolene didn't want to leave. She wanted to stay and take care of her parents and run a small-time business. One night, as the boat were near the El Gordo lighthouse, Jock pushed her off the cliff, resulting in her death. John wasn't convicted for murder because it was labeled as an accident. Jolie didn't find any rest in the afterlife, and she haunts the cliff of Mount Gordo.
Metroid Justin Bailey Code.
In the 1986 NES game called Metroid, you can use the code Justin Bailey. The result of using the code is when the player starts the game, Samson is no longer wearing her protective suit, but she will be in a bathing suit, and you will also get few perks. But people would speculate who is Justin Bailey and what it stands for. Some believe that Bailey is a slang for bathing suit. In the reality, the password Justin Bailey only coincidentally spells out a name due to the way of Metroid password generation system works. It has no actual hidden meaning. The password just coincidentally spells out a recognizable English name.
Pokemon Black.
Pokemon Black is about a creepypasta about a bootleg collector who got the game Pokemon Black. Not to be confused with the Pokemon Black on the DS. This is about the first generation of Pokemon. He got this cartridge where many bootleg copies were sold, and that's the local flea market. Many of you probably knew that at the start of every Pokemon game you could choose your starter Pokemon to start your adventure, and this game was no exception. What made this game special, instead of 3 starter Pokemon, there was one more to choose from. It was a level 1 ghost, with only one move, and that was Curse. This ghost Pokemon looked like the ghost you can encounter in the previous mentioned Lavender Town Tower. Newer games included this move called Curse, but Generation 1 didn't have it yet. Pokemon were afraid to attack Ghost, and after using a curse, the Pokemon cry sound would be played in a much lower pitch. But in this hack, the curse could actually kill the trainer's Pokemon, as the Pokeball started to disappear from the trainer's inventory, and you could also use curse on the trainer. Then the trainer would disappear and a tombstone would appear in his place when you re-enter the room. After you kill the Elite Four, the game would show you into the future, where you see your character older and walking at half speed. Your character now lives in Lavender Town, and upon entering his house, you could also see all the Pokemon and trainers you have killed, as the Lavender theme song started to play, with each second being more distorted. After that, a battle appears against your own Pokemon Ghost. You could only use one attack as an old man, and that is Struggle, which can do any harm to the ghost Pokemon. After your Pokemon Ghost uses a curse, the screen fades to black. Just to state, even if this is only a creepypasta, there is an actual release of this game with Gen 3 graphics, and it's called Pokemon Creepy Black, and it's playable in your web browser, so you can go check it out. I just played for a few minutes and it seems okay, but let me know your thoughts.
Rayman League.
This is a hoax created by the YouTuber 𝙑𝙤𝙬𝙚. He made an artwork that was supposedly the leaked artwork of Rayman for Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. His artwork was so convincing that many people genuinely believed that Rayman was gonna be featured in the game. Even the site, the Game Rant, made an article about it. He succeeded even to confuse Ubisoft. It was of course later debunked by Ubisoft, but he posted a whole video on how he made this artwork, and if you're interested you can check out his channel.
The Grinch League.
This is like the previous entry on the list, a hoax created on the website 4chan, with a picture that shows Banjo-Kazooie, Chorus Kids, Cat, Gino, Shadow and Isaac as playable characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Some people noticed that there was a Grinch at the bottom of the photo, and of course people thought that Grinch would be also included in the game later, but this was quickly proven wrong, because on the next Nintendo Direct they showed the next playable characters, and the only which landed in the game was Ken.
Catastrophe Crow.
This is an unfinished game developed by Opus Interactive that was set to be released in 1999 for the N64. This game had a pretty good budget, but the release date was getting pushed back because of the lead developer, Manfred, wanted the game to be perfect, and it was pushed so far back that it was scrapped due to the release of the GameCube. A YouTuber by the name Adam Butcher posted a video on his YouTube channel and asked the question what happened to Crow 64. He talks about the development of the game and shows some of the gameplay footage from a copy he got apparently. In the later section of the game indicates that the producer went mad because of the failure of this game.
Hot Coffee mode in San Andreas.
Hot Coffee is cut content from the GTA San Andreas game. When the game was launched on June 9, 2005, San Andreas had a minigame hidden in its code. It allowed the main character, CJ, to go to his girlfriend's house and engage in adult activities as a playable minigame. This caused a huge backlash from politicians, and the game has to be rated AO, or better to say adult only, which means that only people over 21 can buy the game, because this is like a death warrant in the game industry. Not only the age restriction, but AO games are forbidden to be displayed in most stores. Rockstar quickly cut the content and needed to re-release a game to get a mature rating from the ASRB.
Michael Jackson composed Sonic the Hedgehog 3 soundtrack.
This is a rumor that Michael Jackson in 1994 composed music for the game Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This is because some of the songs resemble Smooth Criminal and Black and White by Michael Jackson. Sonic creator Yuji Naka confirmed he did write music for the game, but he's not sure if the music is actually the final version of the game. There is a rumor that the manager of Michael Jackson said that Michael Jackson was unhappy how the songs turned out and wished to remain uncredited for the songs he made for the game.
Call of Tortured Souls.
Everybody is familiar with the program Excel. In the version Excel 95 for Windows 95, there is an Easter egg called Call of Tortured Souls. To access this, you need to go to the 95th row and select the whole row. Tab over to column B, go to help/about, tap and hold Ctrl, Alt and Shift. Then click to the tech support button. Then the game will appear. It's a hall where you walk around and see the people who worked on Excel 95. Many speculate this is connected to a cult because of the ominous music and the backgrounds are appearing like tortured souls. And that's the origin of the Easter egg's name.
Tipping the iceberg in Club Penguin.
The rumor is about that you could tip the iceberg northeast on Penguin Island, if you have enough people to jackhammer one side. This was only partially true because if you wanted to tip the iceberg, at least 5 players in the room needed to wear blue, walking a blue puffle, virtual pet, and dancing while wearing a hard hat. Then the iceberg would be flipped and the game would reveal a dance floor.
Near Automata's church.
This is a hoax that was made by a Reddit user called 𝙑𝙤𝙙𝙚𝙗𝙚. He posted a video where he enters a church in Near Automata. The church was usually off limits and the community was just surprised, but this was quickly proven fake, as there were mods used to gain access to this church.
Purple prizes in Super Mario 64.
We already covered the mystery of Luigi being a playable character in Mario 64. This follows a similar fashion. Rumors surfaced about unlocking Waluigi as a playable character in Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo DS. As Mario, Luigi and Wario were unlockable, the absence of Waluigi, who would complete their thematic set, seemed very suspicious to many fans. Beta screenshots of Super Mario 64 DS showed the purple rabbit existed in early versions, but was removed from the final game. Some fans assumed that finding and catching the purple rabbit would give the player a key to Waluigi's door, unlocking him as a playable character. While not nearly as popular as the L is real, this rumor was still fairly popular for a while, thanks to the fake leaks and Photoshop images. It is unknown if Waluigi was ever actually planned for the Mario 64.
Yammer.
Known by fans as Yammer is an urban legend revolving around SpongeBob Saves the Day. While digging through the game's files, dedicated fans noticed that they were able to find the sprite sheets of frames for each of the game zones, appearing when triggered. When they go to the Krusty Krabs sheet, this character appeared. The sprite was called Yammer. He was a bizarre looking guy looking back at you. The fans started to wonder what he represented and started to email the team behind the game, where they eventually found he was a test model they built, and somehow it became a meme in the office. But they forget to remove it from the final game, and that's why Yammer is still in the game.
Noki Bay Book.
The Noki Bay Book legend is an urban legend revolving around the 2002 3D platforming game Super Mario Sunshine. This is about an odd-placed book found in the mission Red Coins in a Bottle. only through glitches you are allowed to see the secret book. The purpose of the book was unclear. What many people think that the book was in the early versions of the game and there was a mission where Mario would retrieve the book and bring it to the Noki Elder for Shine Sprite. But hackers found that if you reach the book, you cannot interact with it in any way. There was also a hoax created in which if you interact with the book, you have no life. Signed, Shigeru Miyamoto.
Purple Guy Animatronic.
Five Nights at Freddy's is a game we already talked about. In this entry, we are looking at Five Nights at Freddy's 2, about a urban legend about the purple guy which started in 2014. In early 2015, a video surfaced that showed us a hidden animatronic portrayed as the purple guy. After the phone rang, the purple guy would briefly flash the screen, slammed up against the wall in the office, and disappear. However, it was revealed that the animatronic was simply a Photoshop image of the Golden Freddy we already talked about today, with a purple color scheme and Chica's head.
Luigi.
This is a glitch that scared probably many kids back in the day. In Luigi's Mansion, due to a lighting glitch, it can appear that Luigi is hanging from the ceiling. The position of the light source depends on the camera, which is normally a fixed angle throughout the game, but it's unusually low in the circumstances to require to reproduce this glitch. If the camera and light source are tilted slightly upwards, it follows that Luigi's shadow would be displaced above the horizontal, and it appears like Luigi hanging himself. Many speculate that Luigi is dead and the game is set in his afterlife. This was later fixed in the 3D version.
Squall is dead.
Spoilers for Final Fantasy VIII. The Squall is Dead is a urban legend and a fan theory revolving around the 1999 role-playing game Final Fantasy VIII. At the end of the game's first disc, Idea spitefully impales the character Squall with the ice shard, seemingly killing him. However, at the beginning of disc 2, he miraculously healed with no real explanation. The strange execution of these scenes has convinced many players that Squall actually did die and that the rest of the game is his dream. In late 2017, the series developer Yoshihiro Kitase was interviewed by Kotaku about of the several myths surrounding this series. But regarding about Squall's death, Kitase said, "No, this is not true. I think he was actually stabbed around the shoulder area, so he was not dead." But this is a very interesting idea, so if we ever make a remake of Final Fantasy VIII, I might go along with that story in my mind.
Super Mario Galaxy DS.
This was a hoax created in 2008 when a video surfaced of Super Mario Galaxy playing on a DS, a port version of Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Wii. This was quickly debunked as the footage belonged to Pablo Belmonte, a well-known creator of Nintendo-themed hoaxes. But as far as my research goes, there is actually a homebrew version of this game in progress.
Pixie in San Andreas.
We already covered Bigfoot in San Andreas, but now the spotlight has Pixie. Pixie is an antagonist in the 2003 horror game Manhunt, released by Rockstar Games. Pixie is a degenerate mass murderer who uses a pig's head as a mask and lost all connection with reality and is incompletely human in any behavior. The rumor gained popularity when YouTube myth hunter Dart Dementos posted a video about the Shady Creek's creature in 2008. In this video, a short figure resembling Pixie was seen in a freeze frame shot. Pixie is said also to carry a chainsaw around him to kill his victims. This is sadly all untrue because the photos were photoshopped. The only way you can achieve that Pixie is being in the game is by using mods.
The nude Samus.
We covered the Samus bathing suit cheat code in Metroid. So you discovered that Samus is a woman and not a man, which many people thought. This caused immediately to spread rumors about a way to witness her completely naked. This was completely untrue. While this is true for the original game, there are some unused assets of animations from the game's sequel, the SNES Super Metroid. In the unused game animation, Samus's power suit burst from her body, revealing her wearing nothing but underwear. That burns away to show her naked body for a single frame. She was also meant to emit loud cry upon dying, but both of the animations and the cry were cut from the game from being too secular and too upsetting.
Mewtree.
Mew and Mewtwo are two very special Pokemon in the Pokemon universe. This urban legend appeared around 1996. According to the legend, the legendary Pokemon Mewtwo had one more evolution. This rumored Mewtree could be obtained by having a level 100 Mew and a level 100 Mewtwo in your party, using them to defeat the Elite Four and then taking a rest at the player's house. When the player awoke, their Mew and Mewtwo would be somehow fused, so 1 Mew plus Mewtwo would result in Mewtree. Pure logic. Supposedly, it measures nearly 7 feet in height and weighs over 300 pounds. However, no such code existed in the game, and its existence has never been confirmed by any member of Game Freak or Nintendo.
Under Master Chief's helmet.
This was a speculation of how the Master Chief would look like under his helmet. This was a thing that bothered the whole community many years ago. They tried to get glimpses and see if they could extract some photos or sprites, but the truth was revealed in the first season of the series on the HBO about Halo.
Delfina Plaza in Mario Odyssey.
This is about some cut content from Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. A YouTube video showed what appears to be Isle Delfino in Super Mario Odyssey, and this video has been circulating around the internet. The clip in question lasts only for a few seconds. Super Mario standing at the Isle Delfino Plaza. A few things such as Mario animation and the placement of amiibo makes the whole setup look real, but looking closer it seems that the things aren't real at all. This was quickly debunked after analyzing, even if the few seconds of this footage looked really real.
In Mortal Kombat 1.
In the arcade version of Mortal Kombat, the early versions of Mortal Kombat had a real glitch called Error Macro. It was a glitch that turned Scorpion's outfit red instead of his plain regular yellow outfit. It was merely a bug, but it caused so many controversy and rumors spread amongst the Mortal Kombat community that later, because of the rumored character known as Ermac, he would finally be brought alive and see the light of day in Mortal Kombat 3.
Princess Daisy Third Eye.
Although not playable, the Super Mario character Princess Daisy does appear in Super Smash Bros. Daisy's third eye is a bug on Super Smash Bros. Melee which can be found on the Daisy's trophy, right in the trophies section of the main menu. In the Japanese and early American versions of Super Smash Bros. Melee, viewing the princess trophy and zooming in reveals that Daisy possesses a deformed and misshaped third eye on the back of her head. There was no real statement why this is in the game, but it was supposedly to be a glitch or bug.
Going to the moon in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald.
This is about a speculation that you can go to the moon in the third generation of Pokemon. The point of getting to the moon is that Jirachi would appear and you could catch him. The only way to get to the moon, you will need to beat all trainers and do a few more things, and then you can go to the space center apparently and launch a rocket into space to find Jirachi. But this is of course untrue.
Diablo Chat Gem.
This is about the chat gem that would appear in the chat on the Windows Diablo 2 Battle.net. After clicking the gem, the color would change, and when it changed, a message would pop up in the chat stating gem activated. Once more, it would say gem deactivated. On rare occasions, after clicking the button a lot, a message would appear stating perfect gem activated, and other times just moo. People believe after the text stated perfect gem activated, all the gems would be upgraded in the inventory. But this was simply not true. This was probably just a small Easter egg of the developers to confuse the gamers.
Ghost cars in GTA San Andreas.
Along with Pixie and Bigfoot, the ghost cars are one of the most popular myths in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where the two other myths on this list were fake this one was proven to be real. In the program files of the game there are special modes of cars mostly associated with the word sh. So instead of the car 𝙑𝙤𝙙𝙚, it will say 𝙑𝙤𝙙𝙚, and those cars would be damaged, and that's where the nickname comes from. The unique thing about these cars, they couldn't be repaired. There are some glitches on the PlayStation version of the game where the ghost cars rolls down the hill but it spawns incorrectly, so it goes through the trees. If this occurs, the driving wheels can be witnessed spinning on the ground silently while the car remains stuck. The location of these cars are all over the game.
Fallout 3 number stations.
This is about a myth that in Fallout 3 radio station would have some cryptic message hidden in the game which could predict the future. This launched a whole investigation on forums about this. In real life, a number station used to communicate with sleeper agents inside of a foreign nation, and they played a large role in the Cold War between the United States and Soviet Union. With the Fallout series plot revolving around the nuclear war, many fans thought that there would be at least a passing reference to these secret agents. Despite all discussions, the story brought on the internet forums, the number station is just a creepypasta and its existence was unproven.
Cockamelo Lake.
This is once again about Smash Bros. It's about a crossover between Smash Bros and Doom. This started a huge debate if this is real. Again, it was just a hoax. This is about a supposed Cockamelo character being in the Smash Bros game, but this wasn't confirmed by Nintendo or by Bethesda, who are the owners of the Doom franchise. There are not many information on this topic, so let's go to the next entry.
Chris Haulian Room.
This is about a secret room in the Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past game for the SNES. Chris Haulian was only mentioned to a telepathy tile found inside a secret room. The room is a failsafe that the game sends a link to when it detects an error in the Y coordinate. 5 different methods can be used to access this, all of which use the Pegasus shoes and some of them bombs. This was only in the English version of the game and it has been removed from A Link to the Past and the Four Swords.
Zoo Level in Accounting Plus.
Accounting Plus is a dark comedy game set in VR for Steam and PlayStation. This is a speculation that the game Accounting Plus has a secret zoo level. I will post the pictures for you so you can get a good look at the map. A Reddit user called The Great Darkness stated he found a map of the secret zoo level and describes in huge detail what he found and what it is about. This is only a speculation for now as this isn't debugged yet.
Ghost of Misery Mere.
Once again we are talking about A Link to the Past, now about the Ghost of Misery Mere. Rumors spread that this is a ghost that haunts the Swamp of Evil. Those ghosts are invisible enemies that don't harm the player but would catch on fire if you throw bombs on them. Through ROM hacking we discovered that the ghosts in Swamp of the Evil are just glitches.
Nude Lara Croft.
A thing that troubled many PlayStation 1 players back in the day, if there somewhere was a code hidden in the game to see Lara Croft nude, so players could get glimpses of Lara Croft pixelated assets. It was believed there is a myth about a cheat code called Nude Rider that would let you to see Lara Croft nude, but the developers hated this rumor and even included a reference in Tomb Raider 2 where Lara shoots the player if you wanna see her in shower. Xbox 720. This was a speculation of the next upcoming console for Microsoft. A 56-page document from Microsoft dated back to mid-2010 reveals company plans for a Xbox 720 gaming console. The recently leaked document has been removed since it was discovered. The Xbox 720 would include a Blu-ray support, 3D glasses, cloud-based gaming and an improved Kinect system for the price about $300.
GLaDOS design is based on a woman bound upside down.
This is a speculation that the GLaDOS is based on a woman bound upside down. The rumor was started by a blogger by the name of Spitfire in 2008, stating, "The first time I saw GLaDOS in Portal, I was overcome with a distinct sensation that I was in the presence of someone in pain, trouble at least, and I felt very immense frustration. This was further discussed for many years, but these were all just speculations. She was apparently to supposed look like a bot Kelly Venus rising from the sea, and if you play the game with the developer commentary, it's even stated.
The Children of the Goldshire.
This is about the Easter egg in the game Warcraft. The Children of the Goldshire, commonly known as creepy Goldshire children, are a group of 6 children. They walk on the path of the Goldshire to Stormwind City together. The children are known for the fact that they are going to an empty house, 2nd floor, and form patterns, remaining silent and unmoving. They are actual reference to Blizzard Entertainment employees.
Figures in single-player G mode.
If I'm correct, this is about the Semper figure in G mode. So Semper is a known entity that is a subject on many sites within the Garry's mode. He appears in the old Garry's mode servers or in a single-player servers and would show up when the players least expect. Semper is unknown. Although the ability for Semper are very small within the Garry mode, its main ability is to teleport when the main player has their back turned. Semper usually teleports when the player gets too close to him, and when he does teleports, he never shows up again. Some have said Semper could crash your game through this, but this hasn't been proven a fact. But the Semper figure was a placeholder, and it's stated by the developers that this was a code error on the site.
Deus Ex prediction.
This is about a speculation that Deus Ex predicted the destruction of the World Trade Center towers. In one mission you are sent to Liberty City, and the background of the Liberty City is based on New York, but the towers are missing in the background. The game was released just 1 year before the real attack. Of course, many people started to wonder if Deus Ex predicted this event or if it was somehow involved with it. The true reason why you cannot find the twin towers in the game is due to the engine's limitations at the time. The developers simply could not fit the towers in, as they were forced to crop the skyline to fit within the limitations of the engine.
That evil farming game.
On April 30, 2016, a Redditor named Sparta213 posted to the subreddit tip of my joystick, a subreddit for finding the name of a game that you can remember. They had a very strange, sinister sounding game, Dodging Their Memory. All I can remember is that it's like a Harvest Moon game, but with a dark twist. The game starts off with you and your wife. One night you get into a fight and end up stabbing her to death. Now, the game revolves around you farming to stay alive while trying to keep the town from finding out about the incident that happened. Every now and then the cops come up and try to search your house and you have to hide the corpse. This was just a hoax and speculations, but because there was a video animations that could fit the description of this game to some part, people remembered it as false. Once again, the famous Mandela effect. Someone took this idea and made a real game, or at least they tried. The game is called The Evil Farming Game Replanted, but there are only a few pictures and a video trailer on Steam.
Opening all 3 llamas in Fortnite match gives you a reward.
This entry is about Fortnite. After you open the 3 so-called llamas in a Fortnite match, the game rewards you. This was a myth that surfaced on YouTube and Reddit. As my research goes, this was only a rumor that circulated a few years ago.
Chunky Kong Assist Trophy.
One more entry about the Super Smash Bros. From the 2014. Released for the 3DS and Wii U. During the demo of the game presented at E3 2014, many people began reporting seeing many as of yet unrevealed assist trophies. One of the characters people began reporting was Chunky Kong, one of the 5 playable characters in Donkey Kong 64. According to the reports, Chunky's function involved slamming the ground and causing damage, and causing damaging bananas falling from the sky. But when the game released, Chunky was not in the game. The person who claimed to cause this hoax, he claimed that he used it to help find fake leaks. If he saw that a supposed leak included Chunky, he would know it was fake.
Dream Daddy Cult Ending.
This is about the game 𝙑𝙤𝙙𝙂 released on Steam. It's a game where you are dead and you wanna try to romance other deads. But the game has a sinister ending, so to say. There was a supposedly secret cult ending for the character Joseph. This was later cut due to unknown reasons. The cult ending gives you a look at Joseph's true nature and it's pretty creepy and disturbing. Currently, the only way to access this is to download a file from a dedicated group of guys on Discord who managed to recover the files and you unlock the ending. But always be cautious before downloading content from unknown sources.
Scrupulous finger.
This is a hoax about regarding the new Super Mario Bros. From 2006. On April 23, 2021, a parody Twitter account known as Cut Video Game posted about this character. They went to describe that this character was in the game files as a ghost enemy that didn't make in the final game. It's believed that Miyamoto didn't like the character and that's the reason why he was cut. This gained much traction in the Mario Bros. Community. But after digging through the files of the game, they didn't find any trace of this asset.
Shenlong.
This is about the fighting game called Street Fighter. Shenlong was a hoax created as an April's Fool's joke in 1992 by Electric Gaming Monthly. The name Shenlong comes from a mistranslated name of a special move performed by the series' main character Ryu. The joke was based upon a mistranslation that suggested the existence of the character, named Shenlong in the Capcom fighting game Street Fighter 2, but the real translation described a special method of fighting. After the publications reprinted the details as a fact without verifying their legitimacy, the Shenlong hoax was spread worldwide. This hoax even influenced the creation of Akuma and Houken.
Play as the Master Hand.
Since the first release of Super Smash Bros. On N64, people speculated if there is a way to play as the Master Hand. But there is a glitch known as the Master Hand glitch that allows you to play as the Master Hand to some extent. Because the glitch is pretty complicated, I won't get into details, but I will put up some pictures. What you should know is that even if you play as the Master Hand and you win a fight, because the character doesn't have a victory animation, the game just crashes.
Play as nitrous oxide in CTR.
Crash Bandicoot doesn't need any introduction. This is about the Crash Team Racing game. There is a supposed glitch where you can play as the main villain of the game Oxide, but the only way you could play as him, you needed to have a Game Shark or enter a cheat code.
Golden Warthog.
In Halo 2 are numerous billboards displaying a golden colored Warthog vehicle. So to unlock him, at the start of the match player must destroy a nearby group of banshees and then head inside the large yellow structure, destroy all of the fusion coils inside and return to the ground level to pick up a carabine weapon. Player must then return to the second floor of the yellow building and look for a yellow wall with a cartoon hippo drawn on the top right of the wall. Shoot the hippo 6 times and then destroy the glass window opponent's yellow hippo wall, and then player must reach the top of the yellow building, grab a rocket launcher, jump onto the nearby metal girder hanging from the crane, blow themselves up with a rocket. Finally, player must make their way to the beam rifle spawn point, where the golden rock should be waiting for them. Unfortunately, this is just a hoax. Diving into the game's files reveals that no golden warthog exists in the game's files.
Marty the Tomb.
Marty is a character in Mario 64. Tomb can be seen in Mario 64 Bowser's castle immediately after the player enters the castle. The difference unlike the other Tomb, Marty is green. You could reach him, but he is locked up in a cage. Marty laughs when you enter the castle. Marty is also not his officially name, but fans named him so. In a course of the remake of Mario V, Marty is the same color as the normal Stomps, but he still laughs.
The Berserker Curse. Evil Otto has killed real people.
This is about the arcade game Berserker from 1982. In the Berserker and Frenzy games, Otto has a really undefined personality, only chasing the player and doing nothing else that can display a real personality beyond the permanent smile on his face. This is a really good rabbit hole to dive into. It's based that the arcade game caused real deaths. As an example, in 1982 a player died from a heart attack while playing the game, which has been listed as the first recorded death caused by video games. This caused many stories and rumors to spread around about the game. The official description of the death was a heart attack, which was caused by scarring of the heart tissue, which the victim could have at any time, but it was during the gameplay. Any form of execution could have triggered the attack.
All bones cheat.
The gaming magazine Electronic Gaming Monthly posted again an April Fool's joke, where they claim in the article that there exists a All Bones cheat for the game, where you could play the other versions of James Bond. This was planned for the game, but it was scrapped in late development. But hackers later discovered unused models and textures for the other Bonds still present in the game and managed to recreate this feature.
Pikachu hates Sony.
Hey Pikachu is a game for the Nintendo 64 from 1998. The game used a microphone so you could talk to Pikachu, which is kinda obvious if you see the title. Pikachu recognized over 200 words and would react to them with various emotions and animations. It's no secret that Nintendo and Sony are big rivals since the 90s, so people started to spread rumors about the game. If you said Sony or PlayStation, Pikachu would become upset and angry. This was of course debunked, as the Pikachu doesn't have these two words in his library, but Pikachu probably mistakes them and recognizes as another word, which lead to his reaction.
Shadow BB.
In January 2015, a video appeared on YouTube. It showed us a new animatronic in the mobile version of the game of Five Nights at Freddy's. The animatronic appeared to be a completely black version of Balloon Boy, with big piercing white eyes and a white smile. Sadly, the character wasn't in the game, and the video and screenshots are proven to be a hoax.
Purple Yoshi in Yoshi's Story.
I completely adore his look in this color. The purple and white color theme is a perfect match for me. But to talk about the secret Purple Yoshi, we need to look at the game Yoshi's Story from 1997. In the opening scene of the game, we could see Purple Yoshi hanging around with the other Yoshis. However, he is missing from the final version of the game. There was a rumor if you collected every coin in the game, Purple Yoshi would be unlocked. Sadly, this wasn't the case.
Gary Smith in Bully is a werewolf.
This is a speculation that Gary from the game Bully is a werewolf, because Gary and the werewolf mask had a scar on the same spot. And also at the end of the game, where Gary takes the huge jump, people consider that the jump would be not possible for a human, because it would lead that Gary would be hurt or worse. This led people to believe he is a werewolf. This, of course, is just a wild rumor, with little evidence to prove it.
Dark Souls Pendant.
A simple pendant with no effect, even so pleasant memories are crucial to survive on arduous journeys. Trinket, no effect, but fond memories comfort travelers. Those things trouble the Dark Souls community, because they didn't know the true meaning behind the pendant. It is speculated that invaders in Darkroot Garden must have chosen this pendant as a gift, or in their possessions to drop upon death. Once again, if you want to see a detailed look at this, you should check out the Souls wiki to see the whole story behind this. To keep it short, for months fans tried to find a hidden purpose for this item, but later it was revealed this was just a prank and that the pendant had no significant purpose at all.
Islamic chanting in Ocarina of Time's Fire Temple.
This is about Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. There is a level called the Fire Temple, where they used chanting that resembled Islamic prayers. Because the songs were set in a fire temple with painted dragons on the wall, this led to some outrage. Nintendo on their hand had used some sounds from a third party, and the songs weren't composed in-house by Nintendo. But there wasn't any public outcry as far as my research goes. After the game was patched and released, they changed the songs due to the Nintendo's policy about no real-life religious reference policy. The song was also altered on the GameCube, 3DS and so on.
Mr. Mix.
Mr. Mix is an old PC game from the 1990s. It's a typing game like Mario Teaches Typing or Typing of the Dead, where you have to type words to progress. In this case, the cook, Mr. Mix, will put ingredients into his bowl. This game is notorious for its difficulty. A thing that stood out was the background music. It consists of unsettling pattern of noises that would over time get louder as you progress. They often result that early computer speakers can't handle the output and would break. This music would change with each level. Another disturbing fact is Mr. Mix himself. He is overweight with a large rounded face and with beady eyes and with red spots on his cheek. Many children reporting having nightmares about him. Often would they say that Mr. Mix spoke to them. Many of the children broke down in tears in this process, begging their parents to save them. For obvious reasons, this game did not sell very well. It remained in relative obscurity until a few years ago when PC hackers got hold of a ROM of the game and started digging through it. Because the game didn't sell very well, it was lost. When hackers started to look into it, they would reach level 5, which was impossible to reach because of the difficulty. Suddenly the game started making weird noises resembling people crying. Then distorted pictures started to appear with people bleeding from their eyes. The game would attack your system and started to film the raw memory. Blue screen would appear and crash the whole system. After the hackers fiddled with the files, they skipped the level 5 and went to the level 6. But after finding out about the level 6, the hackers would disappear. 2 years later, a man would be arrested as he tries to kidnap a little girl. Throughout the DNA analysis, we found out he was one of the hackers, wearing a white chef hat, and the only thing he would say, "I am Mr. Mix." So this is the creepypasta of the Mr. Mix PC game.
Lost Nero family.
This is about the lost Nero family from Final Fantasy IX. Nero mentions that the rest of his family members are missing. After completing a series of side quests, the goal of the side quest is to make all of the Nero family members appear. After the last one appears, a treasure chest will appear inside the Tantalus hideout that contains a protective ring, which is the reward for completing the side quest. Although the protection ring is a powerful item, it's not a unique item. So it's debatable whether it's worth returning to Alexandria a total of 9 times to complete this quest.
Godslayer Bowser.
On January 21, in 2021, a rumor claimed that Fury Bowser for Super Mario 3D Land plus Bowser's Fury was named Godslayer Bowser. Even if this sounds really brutal, however, the official game site confirmed that the name of Bowser is Fury Koopa.
Time limit in Luigi's Mansion.
This is an urban myth about Luigi's Mansion. Earlier builds of the game apparently include a 24-hour countdown timer that forced the game to be beaten within a certain limit. If you don't complete the game in the set limit, the mansion would disappear and triggering a game over screen. As no data exists in the game directory for a timer, this is only a myth. The origin of that myth was from a North American commercial which claimed that you only have one night to save Mario.
Hidden Citadel in GoldenEye.
In GoldenEye for the N64 was a hidden citadel which should be used as a multiplayer map. This map could be only accessed through cheating device. The citadel is unfinished for the most part, with graphics lacking in any finished texture, and there is any collision settings, so you can go through walls. The map is an open map taking inspiration from early Unreal Tournament maps.
Tested Zero fight in Final Fantasy VII.
The unofficial strategy guide of Final Fantasy VII mentions a strange enemy encounter that was supposedly removed in the original Japanese version of the game. Climbing down the well at the beginning of the Coral Prison would give the player a very small chance to fight one of these dog-like enemies. The enemies have 25,000 HP and would give you 4,000 experiments and 400 AP and 40,000 gil. The encounter only existed in the first run of the Japanese releases, and the chances of encountering the Test Zero enemies are incredibly small.
Team Fortress 10th Class.
In 2007, a game was released under the name Team Fortress 2, a multiplayer first-person shooter game developed and published by Valve. The game featured 9 classes to choose from. Players had for many years believed that Valve would make one more class, the supposed 10th class. In 2009 interview, Team Fortress 2 co-creator Robin Walker said they had some designs floating around and they would really like to make one more class. Sadly, we didn't see any official release of the 10th class. Far Cry 5 Static Torture Station. This is about a static torture radio station that can be found in the game Far Cry 5. Players who wander around the map will occasionally hear a strange radio station on the car ride. The station consists mostly of static but stage muffled moans and screams. As of yet, no official word was given explaining the reason behind this morbid Easter egg.
Reviving General Leo in Final Fantasy VI.
While General Leo can be added back into the player's party after his death by using some cheat codes, some rumors stated that you don't need to use cheats to revive the army general. To do so, player must exploit an airship glitch, which allows the player to sequence break the game and use the airship before they intend to. Fly to the town of Sozo in your early access airship, play through the level as normal. After General Lee is killed, fly back to the Figaro cave, play through the game and defeat the cave's boss as normal. But this glitch is short-lived, as the game will remove the general from the party at a certain point later in the game. Kekroc. Kekroc is an obscure low-budget game released in 1993 for the Sega Genesis. There is not much known about the game besides the box art itself. The game has been described as low effort and unlicensed. The game was apparently sold in local discount stores throughout the 1990s. It's rumored that the game was ported to MS-DOS, NES and Game Boy, but this was nothing but a poor attempt to make a hoax, as the cover is really badly made.
Kirby Red Diamond.
This is a bootleg Game Boy Advance game released in the mid-2000s. People who sold this game online, if asked questions about the game, would usually take the game down, so it was pretty hard to obtain any info about the game, but Nintendo of America stated it was just a knockoff. Once booted up, the game displays an image of Red Diamond Kirby Star. This fades into another poorly drawn Kirby image. The game then reveals itself nothing to be more than a pirated version of Kirby's Adventure running on the Pocket NES emulator.
Mortal Kombat SNES Blood Code.
Nintendo had a strict policy about violence in the 90s, so Mortal Kombat was censored for the SNES release. There was a speculation there is a cheat code that enabled blood and fatalities in the NES version, but this was proven to be a speculation only.
Riding Yoshi in Super Mario 64.
Mario 64 had initially 32 courses planned for the game. In the final product, there were only 15 included. It's no wonder that we saw many things floating around the internet, like the rumor of riding a Yoshi. The first time you encounter Yoshi, it's only after you collect 120 stars, and you can use the cannon in the main area in front of the castle. After you reach him, he will give you 100 lives and Yoshi will simply go away. That left players wondering if there is any way to find him and ride him like in the previous games. Of course, some YouTubers stated rumor that is possible. The rumor stated you need to collect everything and do some obscure stuff. The only way you can access Yoshi as a playable character is if you have a GameShark cheating device. You could ride Yoshi in front of the castle, but this was not optimal, because it was very limited, so without mods you couldn't ride him, even if Yoshi's egg is in the game files with an egg animation.
Beating the Running Man.
The Running Man is a recurring character in the Legend of Zelda series. We are looking at Ocarina of Time, where he appears in the Hyrule fields. The goal is to race him and beat a certain time limit, but it is impossible to beat the Running Man himself. Of course, that didn't stop dedicated players to find a way to beat him. The simplest way was to use a chain to gain speed or teleport to the finish line, but no matter what you try, he will beat you, at least for 1 second, because the game is programmed in such a way.
Canyon Quest 3030 Ascensions.
Canyon Quest 3030 is a role-playing video game published on July 22, 2013 for Windows PC. The game was unlicensed and unauthorized by the musician artist Canyon West. It was created in RPG Maker by the artist Clara Hope. It's a game that is very similar to Pokemon games. Each rapper has their special abilities and moves. In 2015, an article revealed that if the player typed the word ascend into the dialog box with an NPC, the player would be taken to a secret section of the game. In the secret section, the game would claim that the rest of the game's contest was only a front area for the area which is claimed to be the real game. Basically, you will get a QR code that leads you to a site where you need to type in your data. Then you will be contacted by a group of people called Ascensionism. Ascensionism has been described as a cult that believes in reincarnation and that was apparently hoping to recruit more members with the game Canyon Quest. So this is an Easter egg mixed with urban legends. But check out this game if you enjoy rap and RPGs.
Bella Goth mystery.
Bella Goth has been the most fascinating figure in the lore of The Sims. Bella Goth disappeared somewhere between Sims and Sims 2. Her disappearance was never fully explained. Bella was last seen Don Lothario's home. While playing Sims 2, in the area of the disappearance was a description for a pleasant view, where the game makes a direct reference to this event. When players browsed the family memories of the family Goth, they found out that Bella Goth was abducted by aliens because she used a telescope while they're being in Don Lathor's house. Bella would appear in the future game also, where we learn she was brainwashed by the aliens and returned to Earth. G-Man's identity. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world, is a quote from the famous G-Man. This is a character from the popular gaming series Half-Life. The G-Man was first seen along the Sector C line, standing in an electric tram frozen on the track opposite to the track that Freeman was traveling on. After that, we will encounter G-Man in every sequel of the game. The G-Man identity and motives remain unexplained. G-Man is seen talking to various people, and yet at times it seems that only the player can see him. However, a few characters other than Gordon Freeman seem to be aware of his existence or have interacted with him. The G-Man deserves a standalone video. This is only the general thing you need to know about the mysterious G-Man. By the way, if you're interested into Half-Life, I have few videos about Half-Life, so check them out. Let's go to the next layer.
Sparky the dog.
In the early days of the game Five Nights at Freddy's, a rumor spread about a hidden sixth animatronic named Sparky the dog. Screenshots started to pop up. Sparky the one-armed dog was a non-violent character that would never attack the player, but it was revealed as a hoax by the creator of the Sparky the dog.
Pokegods.
Pokegods is a term used to refer to a certain group of Pokemon whose Pokédex number were greater than 150 and were supposedly be obtainable in the Generation 1 of Pokemon. This is a pretty old hoax. This was a term used among the fans in the late 1990s, as Gold and Silver versions were still in development. The rumors of so-called Pokegods originate with Mew. Rumors spread of other Pokegods with no real facts to back it up. Most were evolutions of already fully evolved Pokemon or different versions of existing Pokemons. There were many fake cheats and codes spread in the community on how to obtain those legendary Pokegods. Sadly, this was only a hoax.
Pika-Blue.
Now you know what Pokegods are. Pika-Blue was an insanely popular and well-known Pokegod that circulated the internet before the release of the episode Pikachu Summer Vacation, where it was revealed that Pika-Blue was just a normal Pokemon. It was commonly passed off as an electric water type evolution, but Pika-Blue suddenly lost all of its popularity because it was not a rare or powerful Pokemon.
Laser suit in Super Mario World.
This is about a hoax about a laser suit in Super Mario World for the SNES. In 2006, a video surfaced on YouTube showing an alternative exit in the game's top secret area level. If you go through the supposed invisible pipe, it will lead you to the world ? You see a congrats note from Nintendo and the secret laser suit. It had all the powers of the previous suits, and you can shoot even fire lasers at enemies. The same year, it was revealed as a hoax by the creator, the user named Cave Phoenix.
17 Colossal.
This is about a cool game for the PlayStation 2 called Shadow of Colossus. The game had 16 bosses in the final game. Rumors were floating about a secret 17th boss, but this was to some extent true. The game creator 𝙑𝙑𝙘𝙑𝙙 𝙂𝙖𝙢𝙚 wanted to have whopping 48 Colossus before realizing the hardware limitations. So they scaled them to 24. The remaining 24 should make it in the game, but before releasing 8 more were cut, leaving only 16 we saw in the final release of the game. There are rumors about how to reach the 17th boss. The way to the other 7 is unknown, but after scanning the files of the game, revealing there are no hidden bosses, although texture of 2 are in the game's file, which could belong to Sirius the Boar and Dionin the Worm.
Maiden Curse.
The Maiden Curse is about a curse going on for quite some time. More than 20 years into the iconic franchise history, there are almost no escaping from the Maiden Curse. Since Garrison Hearts broke his ankle in 1998, shortly after appearing on the cover of Madden NFL 99, most of the players who started on the game's cover had suffered an injury the following season. There were 23 players featured on the cover of the Madden games, and 16 of them had troubles the next season. EA won't talk about this at all. There is a whole site dedicated to this if you want to see it for yourself, if you find this entry interesting. But now you know about the Maiden Curse.
Build Secret Garden.
This is a rumor that bothers some players in the first generation of Pokemon. Is there a way to access Bill's Garden? The rumors told stories about extreme rare Pokemon, maybe even Pokegods, who are being scattered in Bill's Garden for whatever reason. But by hacking the game, it is possible to follow the path, but it only leads to a small patch of land. No Pokemon whatsoever or any other secret for that matter can be found.
Red Dead Redemption 2 Ghostly Apparitions.
There are many myths and legends in Red Dead Redemption 2. For example, we have the Ghost Train. The Ghost Train is a direct reference to the Phantom Train boss battle in Final Fantasy VI that was released for the SNES in 1994. There is an explanation on how to get to the train, but there is no direct explanation why would Rockstar pay homage to this classic RPG title. It is worth mentioning that encountering the train, players won't get any reward.
This is not what I intended for you, Reyes.
This is about the game Overwatch from 2016. About the interaction between Mercy and Reaper. This is not intended for you, Reyes. Reaper replied, "You know exactly what are you doing." The implication was that an accident with Mercy's revealing ability left Reaper in a ghost-like state he was. However, it was quickly discovered that the quotes doesn't actually exist in the game.
Morrowind Creepypasta.
This is a creepypasta about the game Morrowind, an Elder Scrolls game from 2002. This is kind of a lengthy creepypasta, and I will try to keep it compact for you, so you get a general idea if you won't dive into this rabbit hole alone. So, there was a mod for Morrowind. It wasn't posted on any large Elder Scroll communities. Sometimes the only access to this mod is via email. Many speculate that the mod was a virus. People who get their hands on it ended up with a corrupt game file or the save files, and the game would be unplayable. But the user stated you need to run the game through the DOS box. For whatever reason, the world you entered was doomed and full of dead NPCs for the most part. The second thing is you're losing health all the time. If you stay in a spot too long, a guy who resembles NPC from the Dark Brotherhood starts to talk to you. His body was completely deformed and he walks like a spider on the walls. Then you discover the Citadel, which was a dungeon. Upon entering their level, a level 20 NPC starts to attack you, and it's easy to soft lock you in the game. Almost everything around is black and the only sounds you hear are machinery in the background, and your vision is limited because of the thick fog. There is also a weird portal that shows random pictures from your picture folders from your PC. Then one guy from the community started to play the game with him, and they noticed strange things in the game. His friend after some time started to show violent behavior. At the end of the story, the guy wakes up finding the PC still be on and he wasn't on the same spot where he dozed off. Of course, this is the short version of this because, as I already said it, this is quite a long creepypasta.
Winter World in Super Mario World.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is about a ROM hack Winter World for the Super Mario for the SNES. If you guys have any more info, leave it some comments down below, I would really appreciate it, because I almost couldn't find anything on this topic, so thank you very much.
Yoshi and Luigi in Pokemon.
This hoax is great. This hoax appeared in April 1999 on the official Nintendo website, which posted that 𝙑𝙤𝙙𝙚 would evolve into Luigi and Luigi would be the number 106 in the Pokédex. He would be a plumber type. He would have abilities like wrench and family reunions. According to this method, players would need to capture 𝙑𝙑𝙚 specifically by using a Ultra Ball. Players would then need to stand in the same spot in which Snorlax had previously been, blocking the bridge east of Vermilion City. Players would then have to turn the Game Boy upside down. While upside down, feed 𝙑𝙑𝙚 with a rare candy. If the process had been done correctly, 𝙑𝙑𝙚 would evolve into Luigi. As expected, it was revealed that the entire process was a April's Fool Day prank, and for whatever reason Dragonite would evolve into Yoshi.
Nintendo On.
The Nintendo On is a fake video game console hoax created during the early days of the release of the Nintendo Wii, codenamed Revolution. The video was created by Spanish video game designer Pablo Belmonte. Nintendo On should be a VR headset. The video showed promo material for Mario, Metroid and different styles of the console. But sadly, this was only a hoax. But maybe in the future we will get a Nintendo VR headset.
Misfortune GB.
This is an obscure game for the original Game Boy. Since there isn't any hard copy of the game or even a ROM somehow, all we know about this game is through screenshots and personal accounts. The story of the game goes like this. The player controls a young boy in a strange gothic building. After you explode the building, you find some malevolent creature that has striking similarities to the devil. After you start a conversation with him, he tells you, "I exist within the very fabric of reality. Do you want to challenge me?" This is followed by a yes or no choice. Should the player choose yes, the being replies, "Then let's begin." Each filled with pit drops, locked keys, and traps. The music in the game consists of fuzzy tones and off-key melodies. The game had a remarkably unsettling soundtrack, despite the composition being limited to a 8-bit Game Boy sound bank. It's said that the guy who gave the info about the game wasn't the one who actually played it, but his friend. Over the course his friend started to play in the game, he would feel sick and act weird. He started to crying and begging the friend to not play the game anymore. Then he heard the news of his best friend's death. Even he doesn't believe the story about his death was true. He advised you to not search for this game, even if you don't believe in demons and curses. Misfortune can befall you. You have been warned.
Reviving the Deku's butler's son.
The Deku Butler's son is a character in Majora's Mask. Deku's Butler's son is first seen at the beginning of the game as a dead twisted tree. He died before the tunnel that leads to the clock tower, and many people started to wonder if there is a way to revive him. But as my understanding goes, if someone's essence is turned into a mask, the spirit of the person has to be at peace. Therefore the Deku spirit tree is healed. The moment the mask salesman teaches to Link the song of healing, the son is healed and he moves to the afterlife. Even if people wondered if there is a way to help Deku's butler's son, it is simply not programmed that the character would be in the game. This includes the 3DS version of the game also.
Portal 1 Cake Room Secret Ending.
In the game, AI GLaDOS tempts you with a chocolate cake should you complete various tests. At the game's end, the cake is finally shown, but it's unattainable. This led to a rumor that players could access the ending room cutscene and take the cake and unlock a special ending. While the room can be accessed via cheats and clipping through walls, apparently if you reach chamber 19 and from there use a technique of portal bumping, using this technique, player can shoot up a portal on the top of the cake room, which lies outside the normal map geometry. Done correctly, the player should be inside the cake room with the infamous chocolate cake. Sadly, if you somehow reach the cake, there isn't any alternative cutscene.
Project Libitina.
This is about the game 𝙑𝙤𝙚𝙗𝙚 Literature Club, which was featured in my disturbing video Iceberg, where I talk a lot more about the game if you're interested. Now we will be talking about the project Libitina. Not much known is about the project, but it's suspected to be an upcoming game by Team Salvato. However, this was not confirmed. The only reference to the project Libitina is a QR code hidden in Sayori, which leads to the project libitina.com. The website was unresponsive at the first, but was put online. The website seems to be a test log about a 3-year-old girl named Libitina, coincidentally also the name of the Roman goddess of death.
Awesomeness detection.
A so-called awesomeness detection is a cheat option in the game Rock Band. In description states, let harmonics know that you are awesome. However, switching on the modifier has no real apparent effect on the gameplay at all. Players think this is only for the pro players, or the voice of the singer would be different. The truth is, this option did absolutely nothing, as stated by the game devs in the Harmonix podcast.
Ghost of Halo.
The Ghosts of Halo are unidentified and glitched players that spawn out of the multiplayer maps. They have been seen in Halo 2 and Halo 3. Such players tend to behave bizarrely and possesses odd features. Among other things, they lack visible gamer tags, don't show up on the scoreboard, and move erratically. The reason behind this glitch is caused by the stress on the game engine due to lots of activity of the engine and network lag.
The Webkinz Killer.
This game is a virtual world where your plush Webkinz pets come to life. Sadly, a rumor emerged around 2007 about a murder character who kills the player's Webkinz. This goes so far that the unknown character would even infect your PC with malware. The explanation behind this is that an ex-employee of studio did this. The virus could even wipe out the player's hard drive. The killer was identified as Dr. Quack. It was also rumored he would give your pets poison and pills which would kill them. The Webkinz killer is just a false rumor, so you don't need to worry about your Webkinz.
Akuma in Resident Evil 2.
Akuma is a character from the Capcom Street Fighter series. He was an April Fool's joke by the Electronic Gaming Monthly, where it stated he is a bonus character in Resident Evil 2. AGM claims that Akuma is unlocked by tapping Akuma instead of guest on the laboratory console, allowing a new save file to be made in which he would be playable, or to beat the game 6 times with a A rank with only a knife. Of course, after digging the true files, player didn't find Akuma at the game at all, so this was just another prank by the Electronic Gaming Monthly.
Saving the Yahram girl in Bloodborne.
Yahram is a character from Bloodborne. People wonder if there is a way to save the girl from the pig. As my research goes, sadly you can't, because she is coded to get eaten by the pig. No matter what you did, the outcome will be same, but maybe there are some mods that can prevent that.
Maria's original death scene in Sonic Adventure 2.
This is about the original Maria death scene, which was altered in the final release. Because of this scene, the rating would have a teen rating, so they changed the cutscene so it fades to black. There isn't much on this other than a YouTube clip. The clip is very low quality, but this could be a promo material because of the reflection seen in the background. It looks like an E3 event or something similar to that, but because of the alteration of her death scene, the rating was set to E10+.
Donkey Kong 64 Creepy Castle Unused Pillar.
This is about cut content from Donkey Kong 64 for the N64 from 1999. After transporting, turn around and go through the banana port hidden behind a small castle-like barn, located near the banana ferry. After transporting again, you will be right in front of a short stone pillar with a purple banana balloon circling it. The room itself seems to only be for the purple balloon, as the pillar itself does absolutely nothing. Rumors begin to spread about the pillar. The rumor went like this, that the pillar was related to the Banjo-Kazooie Stop and Swatch, which we already mentioned today. As data from the game hints that Stop and Swap was intended to have presence in Donkey Kong 64. Rare confirmed that the pillar had a purpose at some point in development, but whatever it was cut in the final version of the game.
Karazakh Crypt.
Karazakh Crypt, or the Forgotten Crypt, lies behind the Tower of Kazakh at the cemetery at Morgan in the game World of Warcraft. The purpose of the crypt was unknown. Blizzard did never explain why was the crypt for. Two rumors are floating around. First is that the crypt was a playground for the devs for testing, and the second is that the ASRB rating score would become M or mature because of the sinister nature of the crypt.
Artisan's Gate in Spyro Reignited trilogy.
In the remake of the original 1998 Spyro the Dragon, a large red door was added to the castle locations behind the spine point in the Artisan's homeworld. It's a one-of-a-kind door, but there isn't any way to enter it. If you charge into the door, it appears to be blocked from the other side. After the players hacked into the game, they would find a short hallway behind the mysterious door. Some people thought this door would be used for a DLC level, like in the Crash and Saint trilogy, but its purpose has not been revealed by Toys for Bob or Activision. World 9 in Super Mario Bros. DS. New Super Mario Bros. Was released on Wii and on the DS. The Wii version had the World 9. That led people to believe there is also World 9 on the DS. Rumors spread after you collect all the gold coins, the world will be open. But this wasn't simply true, because the Nintendo DS version doesn't have any files on the 9th world like the Wii version.
Mushroom Kingdom Hearts.
Mushroom Kingdom Hearts is an action-packed platformer RPG which is supposed to be a combination between Kingdom Hearts and Super Mario series. They added many characters in the game from both franchises. In this game, you can't jump onto enemies to kill them, but you can strike them with your keyboard. The game should be released on Nintendo Wii. The story begins at Destiny Islands where Sora, Riku and Kairi received a message in a bottle from King Mickey, where the king asked all of them to solve a problem in the Disney castle. When they arrived, Sora heard that Organization 30 data replicas were loose in one world called the Mushroom Kingdom. This is the short story of this supposed hoax created for another April Fool's Day.
DR2 characters hanging in DR3.
So I am not quite sure what should be this entry about, because DR2 could stand for Dead Rising, where there is a rescue mission of two hanging men, or DR2 stands for Danganronpa 2. I didn't find the exact meaning behind DR2 characters hanging in DR3. As far as my understanding goes, DR3 ruined all of the DR2 casts because they brought them back with no real consequences, what was not the right move for many fans. But once again, I hope some of the fans of this series could give me an explanation about this in the comment section.
Usami in Danganronpa 1.
Usami is a rabbit magical girl who is featured as a mascot character in DR2 Goodbye Despair, appearing in the game as the lead teacher of the school trip. But she also appeared in the first game after you finish the Dangman Academy in the dating mode.
Brutus the Bulldog.
Brutus the Bulldog should be an evil Animal Crossing character who would move into the player's village if the player was too long away from their village. Upon moving in, Brutus would do many unusual things, like speak in binary and crash the game when the player enters his house. Only one screenshot of Brutus is known, so I'll let you decide if this is fake or not.
S&B Chocolate Factory level.
In one of his How to Win a Nintendo Games guidebook, author Jeff Rovin mentioned that he heard a rumor of a secret level hidden in the game, a level taking place in a chocolate factory. He claimed that he had no idea where or how to access it, but the mere suggestion was all the fans needed to start digging through the game to find it. As it turned out, the myth was probably a prank on Robin's part.
Kill switch.
This is a game similar to the game we already mentioned, Polybius. Nobody really knows does this game even exist. The game was supposedly developed by a Czechoslovakian company, Karvina Corporation, and there were only 5,000 copies. The game had a unique aspect because it could be only played once. After you die in the game would erase itself from your system. The game had two characters to play, a girl named Porto and an invisible demon named Get. As it turns out, Kill Switch is not an actual real game. Instead, it originated as a short story from the publisher in the Melancholy of the Mecha Girl, a collection of stories and poems by the author Katarine M. Valentine.
Tsar Dragon.
There are two entries for this one. The first is probably correct, but I will talk about both. First is about the Tsar Dragon from Final Fantasy VI. Data miners managed to discover the threatening line of dialogue supposedly belonging to the Tsar Dragon, along with some fearsome sprites labeled Tsar Dragon. The Game Boy Advance port of the game Final Fantasy VI Advance includes a boss fight with this creature called the Kaiser Dragon, whose summoning conditions are almost identical to those of the Tsar Dragon. And the second one is the Tsar Dragon from Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. The dragon first appears when a group of pyrospheres joins together to form it and immediately attacks the party. The dragon is physically strong and uses a small variation of powerful magic, most notably of them the Flame Wall.
Moon Knight and Colossus.
Moon Knight and Colossus only appear in the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and Wii versions of the game. However, the two can be unlocked in the PlayStation 2, PSP and Xbox version by performing certain glitches. Yosuke Eye. After playing Persona 4, players started to notice a strange purple eye-shaped symbol appearing on the Persona screen, but only after entering Yosuke Persona screen. Many believe it only appeared when the social link with Yosuke was maxed out, but some claimed it was just a simple odd glitch. The odd thing was that the Japanese versions didn't have the issue. Eventually, one anonymous person who claimed to work on the Persona games claimed that the eye was indeed a bug that wasn't properly removed from the non-Japanese versions of the game.
Yak Baby's Eye.
The origin of this game is unclear. The game was for the NES. The mystery began in 1989 when a listing for an oddly titled game known as Yak Baby's Eye appeared as an order option in an ad for Play It Again, a mail-in game service. There are no screenshots or interviews about this game. The game also popped up in various ads that would buy used games from gamers. One theory states that the sole purpose of this game is to be a copyright trap for companies that would misuse the name. Some thought it was a translation error for the game name Rei Kinooshi, which was released the same year. In an interview with Neil Levin, a co-founder of Play It Again ads, stated that they used this copyright trap practice back in the day, but he wasn't sure if this game was a trap.
Fez Black Monolith.
In the game Fez, there is a room called the Black Monolith Room. It requires a map to summon the Black Monolith, and you need a pair of 3D glasses obtained on the New Game Plus mode. The second half of the map is burned off, and there appears to be a non-in-game solution or collectible to solve the second half of the puzzle. The Fez community, after over 24 hours of brute force code cracking, solved the puzzle and gained the final red cube, completing Fez and filling the heart in their low room for the first time. As a result, has stood as one of the easiest completable puzzles with a guide, yet the most impossible and doubting without one.
Mr. Psychic.
This is a character from the first generation of Pokemon. He lives in Saffron City and gives you the TM29, other known as Psychic. Other than that, he doesn't have any purpose in the game, leading fans to believe he is somehow involved with Pokegods. Once again, this is a pretty old rumor. Apparently, if you bring him all 3 legendary birds as well, you need to have 3 Geodude in your bag for some reason. He would tell you a secret about the Pokegods. As we already talked about the Pokegods, you can probably guess this is also only a speculation and rumor.
Nightmare JJ.
Like many other hoaxes about Five Nights at Freddy's, here comes one more about Nightmare JJ. Nightmare JJ is active only on nights 2 until 7. She can appear in a hallway if no other animatronic is there and will be attracted by the use of the flashlight. If she enters the room, hiding in a closet will protect you from her. But while there, she will take one of the flashlight's batteries, reducing the flashlight power by 25%. She will never attack you more than 3 times per night. Nightmare JJ is an animatronic in the Nightmare files. She is a twisted and monstrous version of the JJ.
Wheat Sword.
One of the most popular RPGs on the Game Boy Advance, Golden Sun, had a myth about a mythical wheat sword. The description of how to get this sword is incredibly long and tedious and unrealistically specific. So people wanted to avoid this process, and data miners started to dig into the game's files, and they didn't find any mention of this sword.
Real knife in Undertale demo.
Real knife is a weapon in Undertale. The real knife is a weapon item found in Asgore's home. Plot-wise, it is a worn dagger as seen through the lens of the Genocide Road. The real knife is hacked into the inventory on a non-Genocide Road and a cube. The most monsters can be spared on the first run. The real knife could also be a reference to the Mother 3 Real's bat, since both weapons are found before the final battle and wielded by someone before the protagonist. As far as I have seen it, this isn't a hoax but a real weapon in the game.
Mist Stone.
This is about the speculation about the Mist Stone in Pokemon. Like the other stones in the game that let certain Pokemon evolve, this is about a stone that lets your Pokemon evolve in a Mega form. This was rumored in the first generation of Pokemon. Now, if you consider that the first generation had only 150 Pokemons, you can only imagine how the Game Boy would handle 300 Pokemon because of the Mega Evolutions, or the Pokegods evolution, however you want to call it. This again is just a myth. The only stones beside the standard ones you have in the game is the Everstone, which didn't let your Pokemon evolve at all.
Me Outfit C.
This is a speculation that Mario Kart for the Wii has a Me Outfit C. Because the game had Me Outfit A and B, people speculate there is also a C outfit, which wasn't true. There is only an icon of the outfit in the game, but nothing more.
Becky.
Becky is a maze game supposedly released by the infamous European game publisher Phoenix for the PlayStation 2 in 2004. We have sadly only seen the box art of this game. The box art was made really poorly, and if we take a look at the green looking slime ball and turn him yellow, it would be an obvious ripoff of Pac-Man. The only thing we know about this game is the existence of the box art. On July 11, 2020, YouTuber Retro Detect made a video about Becky, detailing how it never made it past the concept stage, and that the box art was nothing more than a placeholder. The placeholder box art itself is stolen from a ray tracing competition held before Phoenix Games ever existed. Then again, Phoenix Games have been known for stealing box art for the games, covers, among many other things.
Blockman Renderman.
This is about the game Blockland, in which the Renderman had its appearance. Some thought this was an old glitch, because he kept on disappearing. He is mostly natural, but he attacks if he is provoked. There is probably more than one Renderman in game, and they like to hang out in dark areas. Sometimes they can use teleport, and also the Renderman loves to observe the player from the distance. Sadly, this was not true because they are just mods for the game, and there is also Renderman map on Roblox in progress.
Purple Yoshi.
Do you remember how I adored the design of Purple Yoshi? Well, here is another one entry about our purple guy. In August 2000, an image featuring a notably off model of Yoshi was posted on IGN website. This was presumably an upcoming Game Boy Advance title with 3D rendering. There was also a screenshot discovered on the site called Space World 200. People found another similar photo to that one posted on the Space World on a forum called Lost Levels. As official IGN uploaded this photo, people were thinking this was highly unlikely to be a hoax. Under the screenshot was a quote from IGN. "That is right, there is a finally high quality Game Boy Advance screenshot. As you can see, it's of Yoshi." While there is no word of what is the game about, it looks like a Yoshi Safari game for the SNES. Sadly, this was only some sort of tech demo or fan speculation around the GBA release, as Nintendo didn't give any info on this.
Reviving Palom and Porom in Final Fantasy IV.
After the fight with Kangonzo in Baron Castle, the characters Palom and Porom saved the rest of the party from a cave-in by willingly petrifying themselves. While they are eventually healed by the Elder, some fans rumor that you could heal them yourself or even prevent them from being petrified. The rumor mainly sprung up due to the game allowing players to attempt to use items on petrified bodies, even thought no items will have any effect.
Delphia's Hill Ghouls.
Delphia Hills is a level in the game Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunters game series. There is belief that a strange creature known only as Delphin Hill Ghoul is roaming the area. People witnessed they saw the ghoul in the areas around the game, but there wasn't any hard proof about the ghoul. The Reddit user CarnisHunter123 stated he saw the ghoul and it looked like a green reptilian yeti monster. But other Reddit users think his account was a troll account. This is a great story if you want to explore this myth or if you're a fan of the series and didn't know about this. As far as my research goes, the ghouls were perhaps some cut content that somehow ended up in the game with no proper code or due to some glitch.
Golden Whistle in Super Mario Bros. 3.
Well, there is a speculation about the Golden Whistle in Super Mario Bros. 3. In the game are 3 wrapped whistles which can be obtained. There is also a YouTube video about how to obtain them, but this entry refers to the Golden Whistle. Because this entry was read on the Iceberg, it is supposed to be a false speculation. The problem is that I don't find anything besides the 3 whistles that were actually in the game. So if any of you guys found the Golden Whistle, let us know what it is and where we can find it.
Sonic using firearms.
Does Sonic the Hedgehog use firearms? Because Shadow the Hedgehog used firearms, some people wondered why does Sonic only use swords. Within the Sonic the comic, firearms are mostly exclusively given to villains, helping writers to get across an anti-firearms message. I found also a Sonic game where you can use firearms, but it was a ROM hack. It's a hybrid game between Jack the Rabbit and Sonic. It's playable online if you wanna check it out.
Training Yoshi to swim in Super Mario Sunshine.
Could you train your Yoshi to swim? That bothered many players in Mario Sunshine or the GameCube. Sadly, no. There isn't any proper way to learn Yoshi how to swim, but there is a way how to glitch out of the map and land under the island and walk on the sea bottom with Yoshi. So you can basically say you go diving with Yoshi. Of course, there isn't any animation because Yoshi behaves the same way as the ground, so he is walking on the sea bottom.
Trailer in Lunar Jetman.
This is a game from 1983 called Lunar Jetman. This is a myth that you can find a trailer for your moon rover. This rumor was created probably because of the box art cover, because it featured a trailer. After some people, and I quote this from a user on a special forum, disassembled the game and went bit by bit, they didn't find any trailer whatsoever.
Blueberry Mystery in San Andreas.
Once again, San Andreas has the spotlight, and now we are talking about an odd thing that happened to the town of Blueberry in Red County. Throughout the whole town, there is a bizarre blue glowing light that appears on building. It's believed that the Epsilon cult is behind this, due to the close proximity of the cult's rumored main headquarters, and the fact that blue is the color of the cult. The town has at least 2 confirmed Epsilon program members, as mentioned on the Epsilon program website. Or this could be just a weird glitch happening, so that could be also an explanation for the weird lights.
Air Rule version.
Air is a Japanese visual novel developed by Key and released in the year 2000. This is about a tweet from Kola, where she talks about the urban legend from the Japanese message board from the early 2000s. A product referred to as a cruel version of Air was often discussed and investigated. There was an unidentified doujin group that made a disturbing version of Air, so much that all the copies of the game were classified by the studio Key. Many rumors are floating around. There was a game supposedly called Air Red and Summer Death, which were the names Air Cruel would go under, but this hasn't been proven to exist, and those who played the game say it isn't the true cruel version of the game. 𝙑𝙤𝙙𝙗𝙚 Colombian maps. This is a morbid theme, just to warn you. On April 20, 1999, two senior students, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, Colombian high school in Colorado, used explosive devices, shotguns and rifles in a shootout. In the aftermath of this horrible case, 12 people were murdered and 21 additionally injured. After the shootout, it was discovered that the two boys were almost obsessed with the game Doom. They also made many custom maps from the game. A rumor spread that the two made a custom map which was the replica of the school to prepare for the attack. While numerous reports stated the levels were poorly made, apparently they didn't make the full school because it was impossible to recreate the school accuracy because of the multiple floors of the school and the size. After the attack, many sites started to take down any maps that were made by Eric and Dylan, but there are still few maps floating around apparently.
Shy Guy Jungle Serial Key.
In Paper Mario Sticker Star in World 5, 1 Shy Guy Jungle can find, when digging through the trash pile, a mysterious serial key. What was the serial key's purpose? Nobody knows. It was theorized it was an eShop code, but after entering it would give you the wrong code message, so it wasn't like somebody already used the code. This remains a Easter egg in the game and a myth with no real explanation.
NBA Jam is haunted by Dražen Petrović.
This is a myth that the famous Croatian basketball player Dražen Petrović is hunting NBA Jam. So first, I wanna also thank all my viewers from the Balkan states, hvala svima na podršci, but also all of you guys over the world who are watching this, especially so far in this video. So, NBA Jam came out in '93, just a few months before the tragic death of the Nets player Dražen Petrović. He died in Germany in a car accident. Strangely, it was only after his death that the announcer from the arcade version of NBA Jam started screaming his name for no apparent reason. Even weirder was how this didn't happen to any other player's name. NBA Jams confirms this was actually true, and some of his team members who played the game experienced it also. If you for whatever reason land up in Zagreb, Croatia, there is a museum dedicated to him, which I highly recommend to visit if you're interested into basketball.
Extra Cheetahman 2 levels.
The Cheetahman is a game from 1991 for the NES, but also in 1991 there was an unlicensed multi-car compilation game for the NES developed by Active Enterprise that contained 52 notoriously poor quality games. This game was a poor attempt to copy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but Activision Enterprise began work on a standalone sequel for the game called Cheetahman 2. The game was never released, but it stated that over 1,000 copies were made. But there was also a catch. Due to a bug, only the first 4 levels were playable. After the 4th level, the game would just freeze. The only way to not freeze the console was rapidly turning off and on the console, and it would eventually work and you can progress. This is also the only way you can access the other levels.
Swimming goggles in Pokemon Black and White.
After Pokemon Black and White was released, a rumor began to spread about the item called swimming goggles. This raised the accuracy and special attack stats of water Pokemon, but it would put any other type to sleep. Of course, data miners started to search through the game to find these goggles, but there wasn't any item like this in the game. The Legend of Zelda 3, the Triforce Saga. This was a hoax that caused a community epidemic in October 2005. there was an eBay listing on an alleged beta cartridge for The Legend of Zelda: The Triforce Saga, and a named seller listed the cartridge on eBay to sell. It was a typical American release of the game, but it was noted that the version is 0624. He also provided a picture of the game. At the end of the auction, the final bid was almost $3,000, put by a gamer named Knight7. Nintendo noted that the beta cartridge could not be played by a typical system. Nintendo also stated that Zelda 3 was in development in 1988, only 1 year after the release of The Adventure of the Link. However, the game itself was never considered for any other system but the Super Famicom. In 2006, there were a few more listings for beta games like Earthbound, Star Fox, and a few others, but the gaming side reported the listings and took those games down.
The last secret in Mega Man 9: Endless Attack.
After the game, a former community manager, Seth Killian, revealed that there was a hidden secret in the game that nobody had yet found. Fans of the franchise started to speculate he secretly hidden a secret, but these were just rumors. Capcom stated there is a secret hidden in the Endless Attack mode. Capcom members indicated that the secret will be revealed if you make it far enough in the game mode. A player submitted a high score of 99,999, but he cheated his way up to this score. If you reach this score, you can still play the game, but your count stops. As of yet, it still remained a mystery and the secret wasn't discovered.
Yeek, non-existing ending.
Yeek, or Y2K, is an indie RPG game released in 2019. Sadly, I didn't find anything to tell you about this. The whole game got mixed reviews, and one of the biggest problems I read was the ending. I simply gonna explain you the 5 different endings in the game, and maybe someone who played the game and understand this could actually give a more explanation about it. So, the endings are: Alex is an a-hole who cheated on Vela, maybe Alex is an a-hole that cheated on Vela, maybe Alex is a god of destruction, maybe the end of the world is Alex Agor, and what if Alex is Claudius' missing brother? So there you have it, let's move on please.
Matros.
To give you an idea of what Matros is, we need to look at Mugen. Mugen is a freeware 2D fighting game engine. The content was created by the community. One offspring of the engine is the so-called Matros. It's a dragon tier GP and he is considered very overpowered and dangerous. But not only that, he is also a threat to your PC. He was a result of the creators of the GP arms race competition between the Mugen authors to outdo one another. Some of them included things like deleting the opponent's character code and disabling the task manager. But Martus brought things to an extreme level by being a malware virus, which could break your PC and spread to other PCs. This was a constant amongst many authors. Some of them just wanted to create the best possible characters, and others wanted to make exploits to make instant wins. However, there is no evidence whatsoever that supports the existence of this Martus, the PC breaking virus. But there isn't any link to find this character. The reason being is, allegedly, this virus was purged off the internet to cause no harm.
Magna Santi.
This is one of my favorite entries in this whole Iceberg. This is about a city called Magna Santi in SimCity 3000. The project was created in 2006 and it required 1.5 years to develop, but only the theoretical working design. The construction period of the city was from 2007 to 2009. The total development time of this city was over 3 years in total. There is a video on YouTube about how the creator of this map laid out mathematical papers and calculated the optimal way to build everything in the game to maximize the size of the city. It was all calculated to the last bit. This video can be found on YouTube, and if you're interested into SimCity 3000, I would highly recommend you check the video out. The whole video has a really ominous tone. One more thing, I found it, and it was apparently quoted from the creator made 10 years ago. This hit home more than it should, and I quote, "Because I love dystopian looks at the future." There are a lot of problems in the city, hidden under the illusion of order and greatness. Suffocating air pollution, high unemployment, no fire stations, schools, or hospitals, a regimented lifestyle. There is a price that these sims pay for living in the city with the highest population. It's a sick and twisted goal to strive forward. The ironic thing about this is that the sims in the mehknight city tolerate it. They don't rebel or cause revolutions or social chaos. No one considers challenging the system by physical means, since a hyper-efficient police state keeps them in line. They have been all successfully dumbed down, sickened with poor health, enslaved, and mind-controlled just enough to keep the system going for thousands of years. 50 years to be exact. They are all imprisoned in space and time.
Quake 3 bots discover world peace.
This is about a hoax and how the bots in the game Quake 3 discovered world peace. The bots would just stand around passively, refusing to shoot each other. They only start to fight after a human character interacts with them. A user left a version of this game running on a pirate server he used 4 years ago. He wanted to know what would happen if he left 16 bots in the game to fight each other. After coming back, he saw that all bots were still alive, and the hoax was created that the AI inside Quake 3 evolved to have world peace.
Built a supercomputer from PlayStation 2.
This is one of the finest hoaxes out there. So apparently the leader of this group has bought 4,000 PlayStation 2 consoles. The thing was that many people didn't realize that the PlayStation 2 contains a 32-bit CPU, which is as powerful as the processor found in the most desktops, PCs and laptop computers back in the day. Because of the power of the PlayStation 2 and the cost, it would be far more efficient to buy PlayStation 2s instead of a real PC. It's said that the group used the PlayStation 2 to calculate ballistic data from long-range missiles or designs for weapons of mass destruction. Now, for the facts I found, the US Army calculated that around 12 systems could provide enough computer power to control an aerial vehicle or a UAV. If they ever made such a thing is unknown. There is also a report that Iraq did import 4,000 consoles, which is highly unlikely to be only used for military purposes. But for a fact, in 2010, US Air Force used 1,760 PlayStation 3 to build a supercomputer, and it can perform 500 trillion floating points operations per second, making it the fastest interactive computer in the entire US Defensive Department. More on this in a separate video. Let's move on.
Gino in Brawl. Lost video.
Gino is a character from Mario universe. He was not originally created by Nintendo, but instead by Squaresoft or Square Enix now. In 1996, for Super Mario RPG The Legend of the Seven Stars, there was a hoax about him appearing in Brawl. There was a video leaked where Gino was shown, but it was quickly deleted. The truth is that Sakurai considered him for the fighting game because of the character's popularity, and he felt that he could be easily fit in the game. But as the character is owned by Square Enix, they somehow dropped the idea.
Goldini using horn drill to one-hit kill.
This is a myth about the Pokemon Goldini in Melee, because the description for the game trophy for Goldini states Goldini's horn drill is so strong that they can KO an enemy with one strike. If you play the game, you see that Goldini merely flops around and does nothing productive. Through hacking, it's revealed that Goldini is indeed useless. The mention of the one-hit KO refers to the Pokemon franchise rather than a skill in Melee.
Catching Arceus on the moon in Pokemon Go.
Arceus is one of the most powerful Pokemon in the entire Pokemon franchise, and this is a myth that you can only catch him on the moon. This was a myth from the early days of Pokemon Go. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the moon doesn't have a GPS signal that could be used with our mobile phones, especially with Pokemon Go. So this was just a rumor that raised many questions. One more rumor stated. The real way to capture Arceus is to capture all 237 Hisui main Pokemon and obtain the Azura Flute, which you can get after completing Quest 26 in the game, which is dubbed one of the most challenging stages in the game. After completing those two tasks, you need to go to Synanon Temple and use the flute, and once you're at the top, you should meet the creation Pokemon itself, and you have a chance to face it off. But these are just rumors and myths. And we are at the end of the iceberg. This was quite a ride. Once again, I just want to say that some entries deserve a proper standalone video about them. There are many things that I didn't know before I was jumping into the iceberg. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a few things about the gaming world. Thank you all for watching this video. If you have any recommendation for the next video or an iceberg, leave a comment down below and I will try to make it happen. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I see you in the next one. Bye!